And hello, we're live. Blaze is still eating.
Yeah. What's up?
Here, we can just. I don't think anyone's in the chat yet, but if they are, then help yourselves to some French fries.
Yeah, join in.
Because I mean, I actually had a couple slices of pizza earlier. I'm just not gonna be able to eat.
Actually, you didn't have any pizza. You resisted the temptation because you knew you had a dinner thing tonight.
No, that was my light snack so that I'd be hungry for dinner later tonight.
Oh, okay.
How do you make your phone not make that noise?
So swipe down. No, swipe down from the top, and then the far left.
Far left.
Yeah. See, do it one more time. Yeah.
There we go.
So the line goes through it.
Okay. Well, we're live. I don't think anyone's in here yet, but if there is anyone in here, say so. Oust yourselves. What are we talking about today? Well, first I'm going to talk about what just happened. So, I learned how to use Google Lives or YouTube live stream back in the day, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago. And when I learned to do it back then, there was like this weird link that you could use, and then you do some things and you set it up. And so I've had this special link up here for Setup Live. And today I tried to do it the new way by just going through, watch this. So if you go to YouTube and you clicked here, for instance, you can click go live. Not that easy, it turns out. You have to download an encoder and set up the ingest settings. And it doesn't make any sense. And all the videos that explain how to do it are like 9 minutes long. And I was like, oh, well, it's probably like to copy paste some settings or something. No, it's a
process.
It's a process.
Remember when I was trying to do the Instagram live the other day? And I was like, how do you do this? Like, it says do this, do that. You go look, and the very first thing says click on this, and then look for something, and the first thing you look for is not there. So I didn't get to do Instagram live from the graduation.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just realized we actually can't see the comments, if there are any, from where we're at. So let's pull that up. Where is it? How do you see that? No. So hold on, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us. Analytics, other features.
Now, will the comments go live?
This is
not live. I'm sorry. Will they be in an archive as well, a part of the?
Yeah, in the live chat. Let's see. This might work.
Live. I'm sorry. Will it be in a?
So there's us. Aha! Callie's here. Phaedrus is here. What's up, everybody? Thank you. I'm just gonna go ahead and detach this pop-out chat. Yeah, there we go. Now we got it. Now we're in business. Now we can see people. I was like, usually there's at least Callie in here by now. So, all right, where were we at? Now we're set up.
We were talking about Instagram not working.
So Instagram was doing the same thing. Yeah, well, why were you trying to do an Instagram live? Nice segue.
Perfect, because at Black graduation, we were doing something special for Francisco Salinas. And I wanted to go ahead and live stream that because we didn't tell people what we were doing. It was a secret. We were keeping it on the DL. And I wanted to be able to just break that live. But I wasn't able to because I couldn't figure out how to do it on Instagram. So if anybody knows how to stream live on Instagram, send a shout out. Let us know.
It's Kali. Is that better? Kali? How was I saying it? Did I say Kali?
Yeah, you said Cali, like California.
It's Kali. It's like Kali. Kali? We're like Kali.
Can you make it any bigger? I can't read that.
You can't read that? Here, let's see. There we go. How's that?
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right.
Fuck yeah. Oops. Wait, no. Oh, this isn't the school stuff.
Yeah, we're not. Okay, so, actually, just for the entertainment of anyone watching right now, so this is the school we're in. We're about to talk shit about it. But if you look down there, that is actually the outside window to the studio that we normally used, but because I just graduated, they like deactivated my my
Access.
my access. So no more super awesome studio, but this is good enough.
We'll take it.
Like the Hindu deity, Kali.
What?
Kali. I feel so stupid right now. I swear it's like, it looks like there's only two ways to say this name. Kali or Kali. And I feel like I said it both the ways. Kali. How did I not say that?
Is it with any kind of break in the pronunciation, or is it just flowing like Kali? Because it could be that way too. I'm really big on names, so I really want to make sure we get it right. And I'm big on French fries too. I didn't get the snack pizza like you did.
You got it? What?
I got it right?
Yeah, you got it right. How did you say it?
Kali.
Kali. I didn't say that?
You were saying Cali.
God.
And Kali. See, people with cool names like Blaze and Kali, we like to make sure we get stuff right. So
true.
Shout out.
True.
And was it Phaedrus in there as well, I think?
Yeah, Phaedrus.
Welcome. This will be my first time meeting you all too, by the way.
That's true. That's true. Have the two of you seen Blaze, or has anyone else in the chat seen Blaze in Theory? Any of the segments that we've done? I think we only have 2 up. Hold on. And
inviting people.
Kali, I'm gonna send you on Patreon a link to the chat, just in case for some reason you want to hop in and actually talk with us. You can turn on your camera, turn on your mic, whatever you want to do. Okay, cool, Phaedrus. You know, I learned how to say Phaedrus not from Plato, which, you know, Plato wrote the Phaedrus, but I learned about the Phaedrus originally from the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, because Phaedrus was kind of like an alter ego or a character or something like that. So I love that book.
I remember that book. I didn't read it, but I remember when it was like talked about like about 10 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on a list of books that we were supposedly trying to pass around a bunch of people that I was working with at the time.
Yeah, it was a really big hit for a couple of decades. I think it's still a classic in the philosophy world. I recommend it to people who have no idea what philosophy is but are kind of curious, because I think it's more of a novel. There's like 3 really good novels for getting into philosophy, and it's one of them. It's basically about a dad and his son driving around the country on a motorcycle, except most of what's going on is like him remembering things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's actually, I made it just sound kind of bad, but it's actually really good.
Are they adult, or is like one a young person and one an older person in the book?
It's like a 12-year-old son.
Okay.
Yeah. Phaedrus says, I found out about it from Plato about 3 months before and adopted the name, then read the novel in college. It was epic. Yes.
Ooh, what college?
Yeah, what college? He says, they say, I was mad for 3 chapters. Then I hoped Robert M. Pirsig, the author, wouldn't mind if I had taken it from him. He earned it. Chautauqua's spelling adult friends and a 12-year-old troubled son. Yes. And Chautauquas are a constant theme in the book. Basically, Chautauquas, he characterizes them as early, I think, 19th century forms of intellectual edification. Basically, there were traveling, public speakers who would travel the country and just roll into town, and they'd give a talk and people would show up. It was like TED Talk, but back in the day, horses and shit. And so it's like the Pony Express for TED Talks.
Without the express.
Yeah. Let's see. Oops. Oh, here we go.
Kali.
Kali.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, how
They
do I?
needed the help.
Yeah, I did. How do I go back? I lost.
Usually there's a button you push.
Yeah, but it's not no, but you see how it's not letting me? This is the messiest live stream I've ever done. But to be fair, we've also never done a live stream together. And I've never had to do a live stream in an open, random space like this. I just feel like I've been cast out, which
Like the day after graduation,
yeah.
everything is gone. You like wake up and like, what the fuck?
Where's my nipple? Give me back my nanny institution. How do I? Okay, sorry everybody. I gotta reopen the chat box because what happened was I opened Kali's link and it changed the thing. So okay, here we go. Resume. No, go here. I'll just make that noise until we get it. All right. So for anyone who saw the thumbnail, the beautiful thumbnail I threw together right before doing this video, it shows Anne and I, me in cap and gown, both smiling exuberantly in the sun. And then it shows Blaze and Francisco Salinas kind of arms around each other holding the award, the Francisco Salinas Inclusion Excellence.
Commitment to inclusion.
Commitment to inclusion. Yeah. Yeah. So Blazing Theory does have a YouTube channel. We just put up a video today. Basically we spent the day when we weren't like doing a few obligatory sort of meetings editing in the library, because the library, I still have access to the library for now, where they have some computers that are pretty good for editing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was showing Blaze the ropes for Adobe Premiere. So look out.
That's right.
Look out.
Now I'm gonna be humming and coming at you.
Look out, because Blaze is entering the decade of video production. Blaze, for those who don't know, has been like into podcasting forever. Blaze was doing podcasting before podcasts were called podcasts, probably. It was just the radio, right?
It was Blog Talk Radio. Actually, can I type it in there?
Yeah, in here? Yeah.
Okay, so now some of this stuff is for grown folks, so I don't want you to be, having to cover your ears and stuff like that.
Oh, the blog content itself.
Yeah, some of it is,
Phaedrus asks, what was the topic?
Topic
of what? Which thing?
What I was talking about or what they were talking about?
I think it's you.
Okay. So what you want to look for here is a show called How We See It. And the next one is Everything Forbidden.
Ooh, actually, I never listened to the Everything Forbidden.
That, like I said, that's for grown folks.
I don't know if I can be platforming you right now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
just kidding.
Yeah.
And then, but the most important link. Sorry, I mean, because we just put up the video today, that's why it's most important, is the Blazing Theory one. So I'm going to pull that up really quick for Kali, who asked for it. Oh, look, that's us.
Hey, I know.
Wow, we've got 49 subscribers.
Wow.
All right.
We only had 6 yesterday.
All right, so I just shared. Wow, we're growing so fast. I just shared the channel. So please subscribe. You'll be the
What did that say?
Kali, you'll be the 50th. My ADD doesn't allow me to seriously pay attention podcasts, attention deficit disorder. And I would say that, for me, like listening as someone who has ADHD, I said it wrong again. Kali.
Showing. Kali.
Kali. That's what I thought I said. Maybe I said it wrong. Anyway.
I hope your wrongness isn't rubbing off on me now.
What if you've been wrong the whole time, but Khalid didn't hear you right the first couple times, and so they thought that you said it all right.
All right, did I get it right? No. Because I think the automated voice came over, still was sounding similar to what you were saying the first time.
No, it's here.
Kali.
So is that the way it's supposed to be?
Exactly.
Which one? The computer?
I'm just gonna play the computer every time I want to say it. I just need a soundboard.
Kali.
I feel like it's more of a ka.
No, Kali. See?
Kali.
That's what I said. Kali.
Just swear I said that. This is one of those things where it's like you don't realize you have an accent until you think you're saying something the way that other people are saying something, and then you realize
the way we imitated the computer.
Kali.
Kali. I got you. Whoever. Got you.
Well, everybody, it's been great having you for 20 minutes trying to pronounce Kali's name. I feel like an ignorant American.
But
which I am.
Kali, you're spelling my name wrong.
That's true. Oh, this is an important moment. So for those who haven't gotten the chance to meet Blaze yet, we don't just put an exclamation point on that because we're excited.
Although that's a pretty good reason why. It's actually a part of my name. So I really have 6 characters in my first name. So after the E, there's the not me being cute. So if you see this, this isn't me being cute. It's actually my real name. Whoa.
Blaze.
Yeah.
It's and everyone in Boise is always like, oh, like the library here?
Yeah.
Because the library in Boise on the sign, it has an exclamation point. So
here they're coming. Here they come. They never fail.
Oh, what?
And I can tell the age group of the people based on some of the things that they say.
Oh boy. We got Nerdy Punky Monkey said Blaze. Hey, Nerdy Punky Monkey said it right though.
Well, they saw the exclamation point, so they got it.
Good.
Way to go.
All right.
Now, some of my friends call me this.
Here's Blaze getting fry sauce all over my keys. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I know.
I'm just kidding.
I know. Some of them call me Don't Blaze because I don't smoke. So they say I don't do my friends justice or my name justice, excuse me.
Which is a bummer because a podcast like Blaze in Theory just sounds like, well, it sounds like what? Like what would we be doing?
Blowing a fatty.
Talking theory.
Talking theory.
Yeah.
Which we plan to make a trip to California. And when we do,
buy a green screen.
Don't give away the secrets.
We're going to go to California.
We're going to take a trip to California and we're going to be in a secret location. You'll recognize it once you start to see some of the landmarks. And there it's legal. So we might, roll a fatty, blow some trees, stuff like that.
The only problem, okay, so there's benefits and then there's drawbacks to going to California. We're in Boise right now. If you didn't know that already, we already doxed ourselves by saying the exclamation point in the library because, where else? Where else do they have that? An hour from here, you can buy weed legally in Oregon. So California, the benefit is that the benefit is that there would be landmarks that people would be like, oh my God, you're there. The drawback is the drive. So.
Well, let's just fly.
True. Yeah, because we're rich.
Tickets on me.
Oh yeah. You work 2 jobs. I'm sure you're loaded.
You got me working like a Hebrew.
Oh.
So
joints and oh my God, Blaze in Theory. Joints and points.
There you go. All right. Who said that?
That's Phaedrus.
All right, way to go, Phaedrus. I like that.
Phaedrus.
Keep the shirt too while we're here.
If we ever have a sticker a Blazing Theory sticker, you'll be the first one to get it because you said that.
All right.
Joints and points. Anyway, so we actually had topics we were going to talk about in this live stream. Now that we've figured out how to say Kali, and now
Kali.
Now that we figured out how to say Kali,
I got you, Kali.
I'm also tone deaf. I don't know if that helps.
Uh-oh.
And
Do you have rhythm?
Kali, you actually, I think I might.
Kali.
You saw me editing. So anyway, Kali will get us.
Kali.
I'm about to shut off this live stream because I just can't do this anymore.
Like cauliflower.
Cauliflower. That kind of helps. Cauliflower. Yeah.
Names are real important, especially to, for me, being a person of color, where I usually have to listen to people that are not of color say names any old kind of way and not get them right and act like it's no big deal. So I always try to stand up for people when it comes to pronouncing their names and making sure that it's said right. And the name is the most important word that you will ever hear in the language that you speak, or whatever it is that you hear it, your name. So that's why it's a real big deal to me. So I'll always make sure that I get your name right.
And I'll be the first one to admit that saying, I'm going to sign off right now, I can't handle this, was white fragility at its finest. So, all right. But now that I know how to say cauliflower, we got this.
Mm-hmm.
Cauliflower. Thanks to you both, and much appreciated, Blaze.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right. So the title of this was Fuck School. And well, actually, no, it wasn't. Fuck schooling. And actually, that's different. And so I wanted to talk about that for, yeah. So I wanted to talk about that for a second, because I'm someone who's always kind of been against schooling, but here I just graduated with a master's. And so I wanted to kind of explain what that means. Even my chair on my committee studied deschooling society under the tutelage of the used to be famous scholar, but he kind of got buried, named Ivan Illich. And Ivan Illich, it's kind of like Ivan Illich. It might even be spelled the same way, but don't get it confused.
Mm-hmm.
Ivan Illich wrote Deschooling Society, Tools of Conviviality, and a few other books, and they were highly influential on the movement of critical pedagogy, which includes pedagogy of the oppressed by Paulo Freire, as well as Bell Hooks and all of the work she does. Actually, not just Bell Hooks, Gayatri Spivak. And so yeah, Ivan Illich was really influential in the whole radical education movement. And basically what these theorists, what I would just say the common thread between all of these theorists was the realization that mass industrial society had purposely geared the educational apparatus to produce certain kinds of people, specifically workers, workers on the one hand, and an expert class or a specialist class on the other hand. And they talk about this as the factory model of education. And the factory model of education is basically where your day is carved up by it's very mathematical and not very organic, not really like how humans actually learn. So a lot of humans, especially humans who might experience ADD or ADHD, you want to be able to dive into something you're passionate about, curious about, and immerse yourself in it and learn in the process. But the factory mode of education says, nope, you're going to have, these classes during these periods, and you're going to be running down the halls, and you got to switch your brain from art to science to math all in the same day, which that's just not how human time energy works. It's not how human curiosity works. And when you're going through that industrial farm style of education, because of capitalism specifically, and especially neoliberalism in this current phase of capitalism, there is a huge incentive to underpay teachers, while overloading their classes and then also giving them too many classes, and then obviously like no protections. And so basically the university's been gutted of everything that could possibly make people like us even want to be here. But there still are people, there still are individuals who've survived, who've somehow kept their souls intact, maybe even some of their mind, and maybe even if they, while actually, giving their attention to students, they actually keep reading. So I think that's extremely rare, but if you're good at searching them out, you can find them. And so I've met a few along the way, and they've changed my life significantly. And I'd say Francisco Salinas is probably a perfect like case in point, right?
Yeah, Francisco is awesome. If you have not had any real connection with Boise State, then you might not know who Francisco is. If you have had some connection with Boise State and you still don't know who Francisco is, I would tell you to just reach out to myself, reach out to Theory, try and get in touch with somebody at the Multicultural Student Service Center and ask to just, set up an appointment with Francisco. Francisco is a dynamic man. And one of the things that he said when we gave him this award is that this is not work. He said, this is heaven for me. And you can tell because everything that he does with these students to help them is genuine. We've had events that have been taking place even in the last year where there could be an issue or whatnot with the event, and the man would reach into his pocket and put out money to help make sure that the events went as planned, things like that. And just time, there's so many things. The list I could go on and on and on, but it's a very, very dynamic person. And I'm glad to have met him, and people that have met him all have the same feelings,
Yeah, I think what we should do is just show, we can skip kind of skip through it, just show the video. So I just gotta make sure I don't have anything on my screen that's gonna dox me. Yeah, this is fine. So I can screen share. All right, so let's see. Screen share. Share. Oh, the rabbit hole. Check that shit out. All right, so this is the Blazing Theory page. Look, we're out in space, just like the cats and the pizza, like from a decade or two ago.
We make moves like that. We're going to Cali next. First, we went to the moon, and next we're going to go to Cali.
That's right. Here's episode 0, just the two of us talking, mostly kind of interviewing one another. Here's where we interviewed Nathaniel. We've got a couple more interviews coming soon, basically just with people of color in the local region talking about their experiences at predominantly white institutions. That's kind of the first thing we always talk about. But then, we kind of branch out. And so one of the ones we're really excited about with Patricia, she's talking about critical race theory and what was it?
The work she was doing in Tahiti.
Yeah. Oh, Haiti. And,
Haiti.
Yeah.
Oh, Tahiti. Yeah.
Post-colonial. Yeah, I kept wanting to say
post-colonial.
Yeah, post-colonial studies that she is doing for her dissertation. So anyway, oh, look at that. No views. We didn't share this anywhere yet. So, all right. So this is what we spent the day editing.
Well, I got the email that said it.
I'm going to skip through this. Don't worry, everybody. We're not watching a whole 16 minutes. So, first of all, Blaze introduces Francisco the award. This is a surprise. So Francisco's in the audience. He has no idea this is coming. And basically, it's a video that I edited that he's showing here that he was able to pull together a bunch of students and alumni.
Some former students as well.
Right. So we actually show, we're watching that video right here, and we're showing Francisco right here. Watch this. I love this.
Current students at Boise State, we appreciate you so much and we love you.
Hey y'all, my name is Katrina. I am taping this morning from
Saudita, Arizona, south of Tucson, where I go to graduate school at the University of Arizona. In no small part, thank you to Francisco for helping me navigate a lot of amazing challenges that I had my senior year.
Tito,
at
pass me a
Boise
tissue.
State. Without
I don't
him,
know. It
I
didn't look like he
don't
was gonna cry. It looked more
know
like
that I would have graduated or that I would have let
Who
alone
is
gone
she?
to
I
graduate
don't
school.
know.
Hi
Yeah.
everyone, my name is Melinda and Clark, and I graduated from Boise State
Oh.
last year, actually exactly about a year ago from now.
that was not me.
Well, that's good enough, right?
Yeah, that's good enough.
We need you to watch the video. We need some views.
And today I just wanted to talk to you about
True.
the wonderful person that Francisco Salinas is. I actually met
But the
Francisco
one thing I
about
really
6
wanted to
years
show
ago.
is where Francisco comes up after hearing all these testimonials.
Francisco, and if you can just come on up, I'd like to shake your hand and give you a hug, sir.
It's the speech that he gives here that just, it's so moving. And I want everyone to hear it because one thing,
click on it and watch it.
we're going to show just the part where because I want to make a point just about accepting praise from other people. A lot of people don't know how to do that, and I think that this is probably one of the best examples of accepting with praise with
There's a lot of grace.
with grace. Yeah.
This will be given out periodically when the Black Alumni Chapter deems that it's necessary.
You want to explain it really quick?
Yeah, so basically, I brought this up to the board, the Black Alumni Chapter board, and I said, I really want to do something for Francisco. The man is just incredible, and it was a unanimous decision. Everyone was on board, and one of the members on the board said, you know, I know that this department or whatnot before had given an award to somebody for something and they named it after the person that they gave it to for the first time. And it was like sold. And so that's why we called it the Francisco Salinas Commitment to Inclusion Award, because he really makes sure that everyone is included. So it doesn't have to be just students of color or other marginalized groups, but everyone is included when it comes to Francisco. So he's the epitome of inclusion. And so it was just a no-brainer for us to do it. And then going forward, when we decide if there's another person that has displayed some of the characteristics that we've seen from Francisco, then we'll give out the award again. So it's not going to be something that's given out every semester or every year. We're basically looking for people in the community or people that are here at Boise State that are doing things for the students. So they don't have to be an employee or a professor or anything like that. You just have to be doing something to help these students here.
All right. So here's that thing he says, right? So he's about to take the podium. He was gonna walk away, but it was like, no, you're gonna say some words.
Yeah, I asked him if he would say a little something. He was like, oh, most definitely, or something. I forgot.
Maybe he
verbatim.
wasn't gonna walk away. I think that was my impression. But here we go.
Well, the thing is, I didn't know. I didn't want to assume that he was gonna say something. So that I asked him. I said, "Would you like to say something?" And he was like, "Oh, yes." You know. And I think this is the reason why.
Yeah.
Where man is shot. Look at that boy.
Here we go.
A couple words very quickly. So some of you know my father passed away this year. My father's name is Francisco Salinas. To have my father's name memorialized in this, and because my father lives through me too, and I know this, but that means an awful lot to me. What you don't know is that I'm in heaven with students. And this is not work. This is a service of love. And so I'm so glad that you feel that. That is something that comes from my family. It comes from my father and my mother through me to you. And thank you so much. I feel like I have to retire now, but so thank you so much. Congratulations to all the graduates, all the families, all the amazing speakers. This was beautiful. This is heaven. Thank you.
This is heaven. Dang. Wow. Yeah, it's the most graceful acceptance of an award I've seen in firsthand. So, all right. So where are we at? Yeah, Blaze uses he, him pronouns. For those who don't know, I use they, them pronouns. Kali asked. Whoa. So
As I wear mine.
scroll up here.
Oh yeah. What did we miss? looks
Someone
like
called
someone
"Thank
asked.
you for being creative" came in, but we're gonna keep scrolling up until we get to uh-oh. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna have to talk about zeitgeist in a second, but we'll get down. Texas is going through the obscene testing that is being used to underfund public schools right now. What it always seems like the people who are doing the worst in education statistically in the country
Funded.
are the ones who are actively doing everything they can to kill education in their countries. I wonder if there's like it's kind of like a vicious, cycle because once schools have been underfunded enough, and also they have the bureaucratic glut that just kind of happens within institutions, people aren't really getting a lot from it anymore. And so then people start talking, well, we just need to defund it then. And so it's just, and then, it's just this vicious cycle. I really love what Peter Joseph has been saying. The zeitgeist movement. Sounds like an awesome Deuterino. Mr. Francisco, that's right. Phaedrus hasn't seen it. And then thank you for being creative. And when you're homeschooled, what you learn is up to the parents. I honestly feel like I've gained much more since doing my own thing. I would just like the one thing, because I was just talking about schooling and how it's not the same as learning and how the institutions suck. But I would also just say that homeschooling is like seriously a case by case thing. If the parents love learning, they've been learning their whole lives, they want to keep learning for the rest of their lives, and they know when they shouldn't be teaching something, and they know who to turn to when they should be. If all of those criteria are met, then I'm like all about it. Especially if you make sure that those children still get to go out and socialize. But if those criteria are not met, it's child abuse. And there's nothing else to say to that, but it's child abuse.
Yeah, that was, the fact that you were bringing up child abuse too, that was one of the things that I was thinking about when you were mentioning, I'm saying all this stuff, but yet here I am graduating with a master's degree, and then all it started resonating with me. And what I was thinking about was there's a need just for the socialization part. I mean, just think about the people that you've met that you wouldn't have gotten a chance to meet if you hadn't have been in school. If you were just working a traditional 9 to 5, you'd be in that rut and you'd be meeting those people that are, all a part of, let's say, capitalism, that are trying to, escalate, move up the ladder, but you wouldn't have met some of the people that are so dynamic, the people that are free and getting to express themselves. You see what I'm saying? So that's one of the benefits of actually being a part of the education environment. I still have a son that I try to tell, go back to school. There's so many things that you're missing out on, connections and whatnot. We wouldn't have met if you hadn't have went to school, if I hadn't have went to school. And so those are things that those relationships are kind of going to be irreplaceable, and you need them,
And I would also throw, because I can imagine some people, especially people I grew up with, kind of coming back, rejoining with, oh yeah, well, you meet plenty of people like as coworkers, but the difference is when you're already hooked into working full time, your time energy is dominated. And if you haven't seen my video about time energy, go watch it.
Nice
your time energy is dominated, and it's all spoken for. The idea of the university is that it's a space within which you're able to have some time energy to allocate yourself, to choose what really matters, and you can experiment with what matters. And in the process, you're going to meet all sorts of people as you go outside of your comfort zone. And we've talked about, and especially on the podcast, the importance of going outside of your comfort zone. Like if it means, for instance, floundering around, realizing you don't know how to pronounce someone's name and not giving up, or if it means, taking a class on gender or astrophysics, whatever it is that just makes you like, oh shit, I'm going to be way out of my zone there. Yeah, but you're going to meet some people that are going to change your life too. And so you mentioned capitalism in this situation and social climbing. Well, there's basically 3 forms of capital that Pure Bourdieu talks about. And if you are one of my subscribers and you watch the community posts that I make, sometimes you might have seen something I've said about Pure Bordeaux already, and I'll definitely be following it up with a video eventually. But basically, there's three kinds of capital. Marx talks about economic capital, but there's two other kinds, and that's social and cultural capital. Yeah. And so cultural capital can be all sorts of things, including degrees, but it can also be, it's generally stuff that you can't give away, which then people go, well, how's it capital if you can't sell it off? Well, it's part of your body. It's more about like what kind of doors open for you. And then the social connections are part of that as well. But as we learned in Step Brothers, it's not just about who you know. It's not just social connections that matter. You need all three. Basically, to get anywhere, you need all three forms of capital.
I was just how do you do it as far as remembering which authors wrote which things? Because I get to the point where I have so many things in my head trying to really align them up. But when we were just talking about social capital, or you were talking about that too, and it's part of your body too, that's again where if you are in a position where the color of your skin is social capital for you as well. So I wanted to bring up, there's an article, God, her name is Cheryl. Good golly, I have to look it up, but it's called Whiteness as Property. That's a real powerful article. And I just forgot her name. Shelley.
Calling it property is good. It's more intuitive for some people than calling it capital. Whiteness as Property is by C.L. Harris.
Yeah, Cheryl Harris.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, because I knew it was Cheryl. I was like, I can't remember, but
well, we should read that and then we could talk about it.
We
could do a podcast on it.
Yeah, it's quite lengthy too.
I wanted to start getting into critical race theory, and I still haven't read the new Jim Crow, so it's like you keep telling me I still need to read that one. So,
but there's so much stuff, so that's why. First of all, too, thank you for the Pocket app. I've been telling people about it too as well, and doing it. And if you all haven't experienced it, the Pocket app is really cool, especially when you're getting people telling you about things to read, articles, or they send you links to stuff. You don't have to be bombarded with trying to read it all right then. This app called Pocket, you can just add it to that and you can read it at your leisure or let it be read to you by the app. So that's actually really cool.
I'm going to show everybody.
Matter of fact, download Whiteness as Property and add it to your app.
Yeah, I'm going to show people right now. So watch, screen share. All right, so let's just see. Whiteness as Property right here. Bam.
PDF.
Open it up. Here we have it, right? Oh, well, what if I could just listen to this instead of reading it? Oh, see that right there? Save to Pocket. Done. Now it's on my phone. Now I can now as soon as I walk out of this building after I say goodbye, headphones in, I'm going to be listening to
Whiteness as Property.
I've got no more excuses. Now the thing that Kali was saying that is really important is that if you have ADD or ADHD, or actually I think this applies to everybody, like nobody's taught how to read by listening, right? Unless you grew up in a family like I did where we always listened to books while we were cleaning the house, usually garbage books, but there were some good ones that we listened to. And basically you kind of have to become more comfortable with the fact that you're going to get distracted, because even if you're reading, you're going to get distracted and realize I haven't been paying attention for the last 3 paragraphs. Shit, 8 pages, and you got to go back. But
I'm guilty too.
Right? Yeah, it's constant, and the thing is when you're listening, you can always skip back 30 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever. And or maybe it wasn't that important. You can kind of tune in and tune out. So I treat every book and every article that I listen to as though I'm just skimming it to get an idea for what's going on and to also gauge the level of reading comprehension that it's at. Because if it sounds like there's a lot going on that I'm not following, but it sounds really important and I'm like, shit, well, I actually need to look into this, then I'll sit down and read it. But if I'm listening to it and I'm getting it and it also sucks, then I know not to waste my time. And there's a stupid superstition in the US. It's extremely anti-intellectual. There's this idea that you have to finish the books that you start. I want to bury whoever
Yeah,
came
man.
up with that idea. That's garbage. That is a
Mhm.
garbage idea, because there are millions of books and most of them are horseshit. And that's somewhat subjective, but most of them are horseshit to your subjective position. So people are pushing a book at you. It might be garbage for you, but good for them. You know what I mean? But you have to make those choices. And I'm just saying, listening is a good way for skimming and then figuring that out.
And don't forget, while you're in the car, instead of playing some music, just go ahead and let some of that stuff play for you for 10 or 15 minutes. You'll get a chance to listen to it. There may be some things that you're like, oh, yeah, yeah. And then you'll want to come back to it when you have the right amount of time to focus.
Phaedra says, if I'm researching, I got to read. If it is for leisure, I can listen. Yeah,
Sense.
I absolutely agree. I cannot do research by listening, but unless it's just like kind of doing more of a survey where I'm just trying to, figure out what's going to be useful. You know what I mean? I still need to finish Peter Coffin's book too, but now that they're reading it aloud and recording that for Audible, I'm thinking I'm just going to re-listen to the whole thing. Because so Peter Coffin,
okay.
right? You didn't actually.
No, because it was Rob that was there. I didn't get a chance to make it.
Blaze didn't get a chance to meet Coffin when they were here just a couple weeks ago. But they wrote a short little book about how people construct their identities online and how capitalist entities, corporations exploit that, right? And so you get people who are really, really attached to loving or hating icons, cultural icons, movements, shows. And why is that? It's because they've built their identities around brands. And who does that benefit? Well, only a few people.
Brands.
Yeah, only a few people.
There's a comment there by Kali.
I was just going to say one thing for Kali is that LibriVox is excellent. Yeah, LibriVox recording. Libre? I've heard them say it so many times. I'm pretty sure that's how you say it. It's like LibriVox. It's kind of like, so however you say it.
Box.
I'm almost positive it's LibriVox.
Well, I'm just saying it because when I look at it,
you just don't think I can pronounce anything.
No,
anymore.
It looks like the root Libre. You know what I mean?
It does look like that, yeah.
So, and especially dealing with books, just like the other app called Calibre.
Okay, so basically, it's open source, and people read books aloud that are no longer like protected or copyrighted, and then those go up there. So you could listen to Marx's Capital being read by kind of a
computer voice.
No, a person. It'll actually be a person, and it's free. The thing is, listening to Capital is kind of a waste of time unless you've read it already. So I know for actually Peter Coffin listens to it all the time. Let's see.
So there was stuff Kali mentioned not being able to get out and drive and whatnot. So that part wasn't an option.
Yeah, I think
understand.
not if you're not able to get out and about. So I was gonna say, like, podcasts only really come in useful for me for two kinds of activities: long drives, and then even then I only listen to podcasts for parts of the drive, and then yard work, and that's how I make extra money in the summertime. So
no, I'm not sure. Do you know what that is?
Have HEDS. I don't know what that is, but I do know what anarchist, Marxist, etc. stuff is on LibriVox. So something that I realized just the other day is that the Marxist archive and the anarchist library, two websites online that basically have everything that's from radical, research that you can possibly get your hands on, as well as propaganda. You can listen to it all. Just queue it up on Pocket. So just go to the pages you want. I listened to a bunch of Rosa Luxemburg recently.
Now, I have a question too, because you just mentioned, reading radical material.
Yeah.
So this is for you all too to chime in. What is your take on reading material that doesn't necessarily, fall into your belief systems or the things that you feel are important? Do you think that you should not read any of that stuff, or do you think that you should read it as well so that you'll know what your opposition is thinking? Give you all a minute to let that marinate. And I'll just give you a little heads up too. I just bought this domain the other day.
Hotsaucehoney.com.
Hot sauce, no honey.
Oh, no honey. Oh, just the scalding.
And I'll give you a little breakdown. So we've had these dialogues before where we talk about sensitive subjects, and when we're talking about race, how we as people of color have to kind of sometimes be careful when we talk to white people and what we can say and what we cannot say. And so in these discussions, usually there's people in the groups that I'm with when we're talking about this that are kind of like, yeah, you know, we gotta blah, blah, blah. And I go, I get it. You know, gotta give them a little honey. Well, sometimes when you're dealing with me, you're gonna get some honey, you're gonna get some vinegar, and you're gonna get some hot sauce. And so this particular blog is basically gonna be all hot sauce and no honey. So it's just gonna be giving it to them straight with no chaser. So for people that are really just, you know, wanting to hear some truth and some facts about some issues and topics, that's what it's going to be. So I'm in the process of, you know, putting the whole platform together, but hot sauce, no honey, that's going to be, you know, humming and coming at you.
Your tagline should be like that one book, Anti-Fragility. Except that's not what the book's about, but it's what it should have been about.
All right. So did we ever get a correct pronunciation on that app? A hatchet under your bed.
People correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I'm like 90% it's LibriVox because I've heard their recordings and they always say this is a recording by LibriVox, and so I feel like I've heard
computer voice or human.
It's always humans. It's
okay.
But so here's the thing about LibriVox is that they're hit and miss narrators.
Mm-hmm.
So people often complain about apps like Pocket because they say, oh, well, I can't listen to a robot, you know, reading me things, which like, well, if you were blind, you'd sure get used to it real quick. And if you're desperate because you've got too many articles to read, you can get used to it. But here's the thing. Once you get used to the robot voice, then sometimes human voices are like, it's like, this one person, I just can't listen to this person. There's something about the way that they read this text that makes me lose focus. And so I just say with LibriVox, it's kind of hit and miss for me. But that's true with Audible as well.
See that?
Oh my God. Bullshit.
Yeah,
Bullshit. No, this time we're gonna look up the pronounce LibriVox. All right. Am I even spelling it right?
Is it one word or two words? Because that can make a difference too.
True. I thought it was always one. LibriVox. Really? Is there only two? Okay.
But you see the double E's, it's Libri, like Libri. You know. That Italian, Latin, what is it? Libre. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
All right. Whatever. So anyway, here's the website. I couldn't find a pronunciation on YouTube.
Oh, you were spelling it wrong too.
That's literally how I spelled it.
That's why it's Libri. No, you had it with E's.
Oh, okay.
And so in Spanish, the I is pronounced as E, so it'll be Libri. So shout out again, Kali. You got it right. We got it right. There's no need. We've already resolved this.
I'll come back if I find out later.
Yeah.
If I find out later that I was right, I'll let everybody in the world know. I'll release a special video just to talk about how to pronounce it. But in the meantime, I'm wrong and you're all right. I'll just say that. All right. So you're right. It took American Johnson 3 months to get my name right, and he still slips up. That's just because he didn't have a friend to help him out and say it's cauliflower. Cauli. If narrators are hit miss, who knows what the correct pronunciation is? Aha, true.
Right.
True.
But we all understand speaking languages that have vowels like a, e, o, u.
Here, I'm gonna share it. There you go. Luna has always remembered how to say your name, though. Luna is amazing. So you've not really, I don't think you've met American Johnson or Luna, but
No, I haven't.
met. I mean, they live in Vietnam, but they've got American Johnson has a channel on YouTube called Non-Compete, and it's one of the best YouTube channels around. So love that content. I know a couple people in this stream here are probably, there's probably a stream happening on Non-Compete tonight. Is there one? Probably not, actually. It would have started by now, and then you all would have gone to it because that would
So
have been
I have a
fun.
question. Are any of the people in the chat room now people that are normally following your page, or they just happen to follow some live streaming stuff right now?
So I don't know about 96 FPS from Mars, but I know Kali and Adris. They've been around.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
Well, sure.
I don't know how much. Oh, what? Non-Compete was the first channel Kali ever started supporting via Patreon. Luna's streaming right now? Okay. Well, I'll get off soon. We'll get off soon. We actually can't be in the sub too much longer anyway. Thank you for being creative is new. It's good to have you. Welcome. Yeah, I didn't recognize your name or Nerdy Punky Monkey. If you've been up in my comments on videos, I usually start remembering names after a few, but it takes a few engagements, you know.
I was just looking at All right.
I signed up for notifications and will drop what I'm doing to catch a live stream.
Yeah, man. I was thinking, is there any way to get actual phone calls where people can call in through this?
No, but you can share a link here and people can hop in to the chat. So when I move, that's how we'll continue these things probably is we'll be doing a live stream. We'll both have our own laptops and we'll both be able to see this chat and see each other's faces.
Well, because one of the things that was kind of cool, and this is for the link that I put in there for the stuff I used to do some years back, you were able to actually, you get a phone number as well. And so you give out the phone number. And so just as all of you are in the chat room right now, if you're in a spot where you can actually pick up the phone, you could call in and we could still have 1 to 5 people still get in. And that was just like really cool because you wouldn't have to worry about spelling there, Kali. And then you could sit up and, you know, engage and be on the phone and we could still talk. And those are some of the best segments that we did when the callers were actually able to call in. And what sucks now is just that, you know, it's not necessarily one of the popular platforms for doing this stuff because most people are familiar with the YouTubes and, you know, whatever else they do. But I was just thinking about, man, even using that platform where the phone part is interesting. I don't know if there's any video on it now, but it was all phone at the time. So.
Okay. Well, okay. So 2 things. One, I have to learn OBS software. Which would probably mean I could figure that kind of thing out.
Mm-hmm.
But second, we could share this link to any one of the people that's in this chat.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'd be able to hop in here and they could either just talk or they could turn their video on.
Oh, okay.
Because look we could turn off our video right here. And now everyone's just they're listening, but they don't see us.
So can we make it so that if anybody wants to jump in on the video right now, they can?
Does anyone want to jump in for like 5 minutes? Because otherwise we're going to be leaving pretty soon.
We'll just turn it on. And if they want to, they can, right?
Well, you'd want to send this link to someone directly.
Oh, okay.
So that's the only thing.
We can't just make it available and the people in the chat room can just link up.
Yeah. So we've got people with anxiety saying, so I think some people would be down. They just need to prep. Oh, by the way, everybody, I'm doing a live stream with Black Goat 666 Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, and I think Ann will be joining for that as well.
So you
So
might as well type it and put it in there.
yeah, I better type it in. So Sunday at 7 p.m. Oh my
Mountain
gosh.
Time.
Wait, does that mean that you haven't, Kali said, sweet username. So have you not heard of Black Goat 666? Because they are actually, their videos are genius. I really love what they're doing. They've kind of got a sort of ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube-esque approach. It's kind of theatrical. It's video essays, but there's a theatrical element, kind of like my game video. So you got to check them out. You got to see the one that they did on Seinfeld. You got to see the one that they did on Peterson. You got to see the ones that they did on Race and IQ, because basically they spend a lot of time arguing against alt-righties and stuff like that online. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Here's stuff too. I just had a friend send me this the other day. It was about something going on with Amazon, and they used to have a platform where you could like submit scripts and things like that, and they would try to help you develop them or whatnot. And it looks like they're taking away that platform, and so they're telling people like by the end of the month, get your information off of there because it won't be accessible anymore.
Oh shoot.
But what I kind of got from it, what they're going to do now is that if you have any kind of shorts or anything that you want to write, you can pretty much put your whole package together and then just kind of like make it available on Amazon to be viewed still on Amazon Prime or whatnot, Amazon Video. So what it kind of reminds me of.
Wait, so is that so people buy it?
Well, I don't know. I didn't get into like all of that. It's basically just kind of saying you can still submit your work and your full production, whether it's a short or lengthy full feature piece, but it can kind of like be available for people to watch. And that's kind of all I got from some of the bullet points, because then it was telling you like log into your account and blah, blah. And I don't have an account. I never did it. But a friend of mine did it because we like to write screenplays and whatnot. And so now that I'm picking up some of these video editing tips and whatnot from you too, then I'll be like really trying to put together some of the things that I've done, because I have some shorts that I've written as well and would like to be able to say, hey, let's put this together and film it. And I remember back in high school, we would literally just run the VHS where you set the whole tape inside of it and just play and record like all the way through, where we weren't editing anything. We didn't know how to do any of that stuff, had no equipment. So all our stuff was just kind of like all one big, long, drawn out, production. But I'm thinking like, wow, I could put something together, have a little bit of, experience trying to do some editing, but try to put it together and then see what can happen.
If I can tell you this, if you were to do another clip like we did today within the next couple days, to the point where you're comfortably remembering basically everything that you learned today, then you're like halfway there. I mean, we spent like, I don't know how long.
5 hours.
5 hours in the library. And it's like, but it's the basics. It's really the basics. And it's just overwhelming as hell when you start out with something like Premiere Pro, because Premiere has so many bells and whistles, and it's like, what you don't know where to start, and then you don't know what language to use to ask the questions, to do the things you want to do if you're trying to figure out what you want to do on YouTube or Google. And so, yeah, I love it. I love editing, but yeah.
Oh yeah, what time zones are you all in?
They're about to go to bed, getting sleepy too. Everyone's getting sleepy.
So East Coast.
Yeah, and if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to Theory Plebe and to Blazing Theory. which we can always reshare again in the comments or the description of this video. But if you just search it in YouTube, you'll see it. Callie, I'm so happy to hear that you've learned a lot from me. So that's the goal. The other thing about lifelong learning, you know, as opposed to schooling, is that for me and for my learning type, what it means is teaching, because I can't get a lot from a book if I'm not going to be able to talk to other people about it. And if I have to kind of present it and account for it, then that's when I really get something out of it. And so I just read Nick Cernikek's Platform Capitalism. It's basically like what changes about the analysis of capitalism in the era of Google, Uber, Amazon, because a lot of the laws of or tendencies of capital accumulation have been turned on their head, and people thought that this was a good thing. People thought this would overthrow capitalism. They're wrong. It's actually it's not just unsustainable ecologically. It's unsustainable in a business sense. It's not possible for these necessarily monopolizing companies to do what they're doing for more than another decade. Basically, with the world that we're used to right now, where you're able to use the Google Suite, where you can use Google Docs and Sheets and Forms and all that kind of stuff. Just as one example, like that's going to go away. Like all of these things are going to go away. Everything we get used to is going to go away. So like Mark says in the manifesto, everything basically turns to mist. Everything's always on the move. I don't remember the exact quote. If someone has it, please share it. But, you know, basically it just says everything is constantly being, as the appropriation of capital basically means that everything's always going away. So like Blockbuster going away, Hollywood Video going away. And eventually, and very soon, the acquisitions and mergers we're going to see happening as these companies that already own the internet monopolizing. It's constant changing of our life world.
Yeah, it's called something disruptor, something disruption, like with the Blockbusters and those places going away. I just forgot the term. Here I am, an MBA student. I can't remember. It's something disruptor or disruption, something like that. Oh, the reason why I asked about iPhone usage is that the Supreme Court just ruled a couple of days ago, 5-4, that iPhone users can sue Apple if they choose about the closed environment of the App Store, because it impedes, you know, free markets and stuff like that. So they didn't say that Apple was violating any antitrust laws. However, they did say that basically if there's a person or a group that wants to put some suits forward, they could go ahead and do so. And if you're not aware, Apple has like over $300 billion in the bank in cash. So there's a lot of dough there.
Yeah, that's one of the crazy things about a lot of these businesses is that they have a lot of this money stashed away. I think like Google could buy up so many of these other companies right now. Like they're all just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen.
Is it innovative disruption? Shoot.
That sounds likely. That sounds like the kind of thing that innovative disruption. What a way.
How can I get to a browser without messing up any of that?
Here you go.
Put in Christensen and disruption.
Here, I'll just let you pull it up. All right, closing thoughts, people. I'm about to do a sweep of the comments to see what's going on and see what we've missed, because I know we've missed some stuff. Go ahead and and then we're going to close it down. Oh, a couple other things I was going to say. People keep asking about my thesis, saying that they want to read it because they watched the time energy video on my channel. Disruptive innovation. Okay. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of thing a neoliberal would say so that they could spin it as positive. Are they a neoliberal that's spinning it as a positive? I mean, it's kind of positive.
What he's really kind of like talking about is saying that all those places that try to just be complacent and think that you know, this is going to go on forever, which is a lot of what Blockbuster did. When Netflix came around, Blockbuster chose not to do the streaming stuff. Like, that's not going to work. We got stores all over. People are going to come in and do it. And so they didn't want to do it. So this disruptive innovation came in and basically put them out of business. And so that's kind of the same thing that happened to Kodak, stuff like that, where Kodak is the one that actually developed the technology for the digital camera, but they didn't want to push it because their business was film. And so they were like, nah, we're not working on this. And so they let, I forget which company, it was a Japanese company, work on, you know, doing the digital cameras. And they were like, huh, they're going to be trying to sell these, you know, expensive pieces of equipment, and we're going to be making all this dough over here on the film, and eventually, you know, put them out, you know, on their ear.
Okay.
So he's not necessarily saying disruptive innovation is a good thing. He's saying it's a wake-up call for, you know, a lot of companies, and if you've been hit with it, you're most likely on the losing end.
Yeah.
I remembered something from grad school.
96 FPS from Mars. You're on it. I think you're. Yep. And Kelly's saying the same kind of thing. Yep. Yep. All right. Everyone's got to go. Got to go. The thing I was going to say about my thesis is just that, I don't know. I think it's going to be published. I think it'll be available. But that I look forward to kind of re-presenting these ideas in video format and blog posts in my own way, because that thesis, I mean, I hate it. And so anyway, I'm looking forward to presenting that information in other ways. You will still be able to see it in the way that it is presented, but I'm just saying I don't like it at all. When you work on something too long and then you realize you just want to overhaul it and redo it, you just gotta get on to something else. So I'm so relieved to finally be done. But anyway, yes, solidarity forever. Thank you everybody for joining. And I really look forward to doing more of these. When I move, I'll definitely be getting into more live streaming. Blaze and I, Anne and I, and then someone nobody's met on here at least, who's really into social science, Lamp, will be we'll be doing some segments as well. So I just really look forward to lots of conversations with friends, big mashups together, getting other content creators on board, getting other participants on board when they want to get on. It's just going to be a lot of fun. But also I've got some exciting videos, scripts in the works. So stay tuned. Make sure that you've subscribed, and make sure to go check out Blaze and Theory, where this might get put there, but if it does, it probably needs to get trimmed down, because we spent the first half hour just trying to pronounce Kali's name and me whining about the new ingest settings of the YouTube. Yeah.
The comms, tech. All right.
Thanks everybody.
Yeah, peace.
Take care. We're about to get kicked out of here.
Well, we still got 5